All right, I'd like to welcome everyone, including those watching on GoLeopards.com, to Lafayette College and Kirby Sports Center for today's press conference to introduce our new women's basketball coach. At this time, I'd like to introduce Lafayette College President Allison Byerly for opening remarks.
Thank you very much, Phil. Thank you all for being here. It's an enormous pleasure for me to be here on this, what is really an exciting day for the Lafayette Leopards and for the college as we introduce our new women's head basketball coach. I know myself from my conversations with Kia that she is going to be a wonderful asset both to our athletics program and to the college. One of the things that really impressed me in my conversations with her is the way in which she thinks about the whole athlete, the student's entire experience, both on the field and off the field, the way in which athletics and academics are equally important in their Lafayette experience, and she's prepared to support and nurture and develop and make competitive every aspect of our students' experience. So we could not be more thrilled to have her here and more delighted to welcome her into the Leopard family.
Great, thank you, Allison. And up next to discuss the hiring process and proceed with our formal introduction is Director of Athletics, Bruce McCutcheon.
Thank you, Phil, and good morning, everyone. It's a great day to be a Leopard. I want to first welcome everyone here, certainly members. We've got a couple of team members here from our staff, many members of our community, and also really want to welcome everyone who on LSN and Patriot League TV watching this. It's a great day to be a Leopard, as I said. I want to really also thank Allison in particular for being here. The success of any program really starts at the top. You need that commitment from top to bottom and everybody in between. And Allison was very much a part of this whole process. She met with each of our candidates who were on campus, and I can't thank you enough for that effort. Also want to thank Annette Diorio, our Vice President for Campus Life. She has been intimately involved in this process, including being a member of our search committee, and I thank you for that. And speaking of the search committee, a great thanks and hat off to Katie McKittrick, our Deputy AD. She chaired our search committee of a really group of dedicated folks to help us with this important process. As I said earlier, Annette was a part of that group. Matt Hyde, our Director of Admissions, Hannah Stewart-Gambino, who's actually the faculty mentor for the women's basketball program. Stephanie Hayes works in our development office, and she's an alumna of our women's basketball program. And David Stiefel, a professor in our economics department, who's our NCAA faculty athletics representative. So I'll shout out to those folks. They put in a lot of great effort and time into this process as well. I want to thank Scott Morris and his team for helping put this program together. They're a really professional group, and I thank them for their efforts. I also want a special shout out to Steve Snodgrass, Tom Jacobs, and Lee Dicklich. Those guys are with Snodgrass Partners, an executive search firm. They were instrumental in helping us recruit really talented folks to our pool. So I thank you to Steve and Tom and Lee. The whole process, we had a little better than 120 applicants for this job. The Snodgrass Partners folks did a super job of helping us whittle that down to 25, and there was some in-depth one-on-one conversations with that group. From there, we were able to select 7 for an off-campus interview situation with our search committee. Again, 7 really dynamic individuals. We then chose 3 to have a campus interview, wanting to make sure that each of those candidates had an opportunity to certainly see our place, but really meet some of our key leadership position and leadership people. In that process, again and again, the woman sitting to my right really just shone brightly in everything that we were doing. So Kia has spent the last 20 years of her career preparing for this day. And when I spoke with her in our office just before I came over here, I said, please do your very best to enjoy this, absorb this, because you only get your first head job once. So congratulations to you on that. You know, one of the many, as Allison said, on the many conversations, several hours of conversations had with Kia, what kept coming out was her passion for teaching young women to be quality leaders. And you doing this through the vehicle of basketball. She had her own personal mission statement that speaks to that. And that speaks to what we're trying to do with all of our students here at Lafayette. But she brings so much more than just being a basketball coach. Again, she's a real role model for young women. And I'm counting on her to continue that in this process of developing these folks to go on to be leaders and quality participants in their communities. She's had extensive experience at both the Power 5 level and the mid-major level in Division I. And in those different places, they really emphasize success in the classroom and success on the basketball court. And each of the programs that Kia has been a part of have done just that. So I'm really excited to have her here. I'm excited for this adventure, and you've heard more than enough from me. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our 7th women's basketball coach in the history of Lafayette College, Kia Damon. Kia, congratulations.
I'd like to first start off by thanking President Byerly, thanking Bruce McCutcheon, Katie McKittrick, the members of the search committee, the players who are here in attendance, and the ones that are on the team and I was able to speak with last night. Also want to thank the Snodgrass Search Firm for just making this an awesome experience, going through it, as they mentioned, for the first time. I'd also like to thank those that are in attendance, those that are online as well. If anyone that knows me will tell you that my family means the world to me. So I'm more than thrilled to share this moment with my parents, Leo and Joanne Damon.
Wonderful.
So thank you guys so much for coming up on such short notice. I am ecstatic to be the head women's basketball coach here at Lafayette College. As I thought about what this moment would be like, I always had things in my mind like, we're definitely going to be an up-tempo team, and it kind of always went to basketball. But the more that I've talked to the people with Bruce and to President Byerly, it's about more than that. I am committed to building a program that's about leadership development. I want to send young ladies into the world who are dynamic in everything that they do. They pursue academic excellence. They're committed to their personal growth and development, and we would have pursued championships and beat Lehigh along the way. So that's a big part of what my mission is and what my vision for the program extends to. I also want to make sure that I take ample time to thank some additional people who really have allowed me to kind of arrive at this moment. I kind of stand on their shoulders, and they have invested in me, they've loved me, they've supported me, and they've even, wiped away my tears sometimes. So I've been blessed to really work with some pretty outstanding coaches. When I was at Wisconsin Green Bay, I worked under Carol Hammerly for 1 year and also Kevin Borseth. When I was at Fairleigh Dickinson, I worked under Sandy Gordon. At UMass, I worked under Marnie Dacko. And at Penn State, I worked under Coquise Washington. And most recently here at Cincinnati, I've worked under Jamel Elliott. And all of those guys have poured into me beyond what you can even imagine. And I have to take a moment to acknowledge Coquise. She's not here. We actually convinced her to take a vacation, so I think she's watching online. But the 9 years that I spent at Penn State were very rich. Just kind of going through a rebuilding process when we got there and elevating that program to, one of the top programs in the country. That ride was awesome, and I learned so much from her. I also have some members of the coaching staff here, Tor Coleman, who she's just learning this, but she's actually one of my best friends. She never knew that until this moment. So I have to acknowledge her and Darshell for coming up and for sharing this moment with me. During the hiring process, and even as I've talked to some of my colleagues and friends, as word has kind of trickled out about me becoming the head coach here, they've asked, why Lafayette? And the simple answer to that is it's a great fit for me. It's a great fit for me. And what that means is simply this. there was philosophical alignment with the administration. That includes President Byerly and Bruce and his staff. We want the same things. We want to go about educating young women the same way. So we believe that basketball is an extension of their educational experience. And so we want to make sure that everything that we do is about pursuing excellence. And so I just love that about them, and I knew right away that that would be a great fit for me. The next piece of that is the community. Everyone that I've encountered here loves Lafayette. Everyone has worked here for a number of years, and so everyone's really invested in women's basketball in particular being successful, but I also know that that investment also extends beyond, to the other sports on campus as well. The next piece of that is I love working with young women who want a dynamic and rich experience. Their experience is more than being in the classroom. Their experience is more than what they learn on the basketball court, but there are things that we can do in the community. There are ways that we can impact the lives of others. And just in the short time that I got to spend with the team yesterday on video conference, it's clear that each member of the team really embraces that opportunity. The next thing for me is I absolutely love the challenge of turning around a program. If you kind of look back through my history, really every school I've worked at, when the moment I've entered, they may have been in the bottom third of the conference, and at the moment I departed, they were in the upper echelon. And it is my goal and my intention that we are competing for championships regularly. And my staff and I will do everything that we can possibly do to make sure that happens, and that just starts with recruiting quality student athletes, and then also in the skill development piece and making sure that the product that's on the court is something that's exciting to fans as well as it's a fun experience for the students. And the last piece of it is I'm very familiar with a lot of the players. I've recruited players that they've played with, so I know that most of them come from very successful programs, and I want to help them find the joy that basketball should give you so that we can get back to that. So, like I said before, when people ask me why Lafayette, it's a great fit for me, and those are the reasons why it is a great fit. So at this time, if anyone would like to ask questions, we can open it up.
Great.
If you have any questions, just raise your hand and we'll call on you. Mark?
Yeah, in the sense of turnaround, what in your career has, I guess, what experience can you draw on in turning around programs? Where do you think you've been successful in doing that?
Really, I can draw on all of the experiences. They've all been unique and offered some different challenges. But I do know this turnaround will be very similar to what we encountered at Penn State. I know Teresa and I know Diane Nolan, and they're both fantastic women, and they've assembled a group of great young women. And now the charge is, how do we build on the foundation that they laid and elevate the program? So I anticipate the building of the relationships will be something that I'll draw on from my past experiences that will be critical, because it's hard to motivate people you don't know. So I want to make sure I do a great job in getting to know the players and understanding what their dreams are so that we can move forward.
Gary, Dave has a mic for you.
Thank you. First of all, welcome and
Thank you.
congratulations to
Thank
you. The girls that had committed to
Yes.
coming to Lafayette, I assume that you have spoken with them, and have you maintained those commitments?
Do you want me to answer that?
Sure.
Well, I've spoken with them, yes. We did a video conference yesterday, and we're in the process of working through they're remaining committed to the university. I don't know if you've had additional.
Yeah, we've, since we started this process, have been in communication with those young women, and certainly expect once they have an opportunity to meet with Kia that we'll just keep right on going.
Hi.
Sidekick with LSN. One more recruiting question. It's because of the circumstances, it's an unusual timing hire. Can you talk a little bit about the plans going forward? Not so much with the committed kids and their status, but with the next class. What's the cycle, and where are you? Obviously, it's pretty early for you, but what's the plan going forward, recruiting-wise?
Well, you know, the benefits of always recruiting highly successful student athletes is they can transfer over. So some of the young ladies that I have recruited in the past, and I have relationships with the AAU teams, I have not reached out to them yet, but I intend to as soon as we're done. But I know that they will definitely be interested in the opportunities that are here at Lafayette. I'm going to be very aggressive on the recruiting trail. The great benefit of coming back to the Mid-Atlantic region is I have ties up and down the coast. So a lot of those coaches have already reached out. They're already giving me names. My phone has been ringing and text messages off the hook literally all morning. So I'm very confident that we'll be able to continue to bring in quality student athletes. And as I mentioned, as I've been out recruiting, I know I may not have recruited that particular young lady, but I know her teammate, and that will help me bridge some relationships there. Absolutely. I'm happy you asked that. So I'm going to introduce fast-paced offense to Eastern Pennsylvania. So we're going to be up-tempo and aggressive in everything that we do. We're going to put pressure on the defense and offense for 40 minutes. And I talked a lot with the players. They were asking me, you know, what kind of things that should we kind of do right now in the interim? Run. Run a lot. Run to get water. Run to the store. Run back. You know, so those were kind of some of the things that, you know, we talked about. But we definitely want to increase the tempo of the game, get more possessions, because as we all know, all the rules are going towards the offense. And if you can score more often than not, you'll win. So that's going to be our emphasis.
Any other questions? All right, well, we'll have plenty of time for one-on-ones for the media, and I'd like to thank everyone who attended today, and certainly those who are watching on GoLeopards.com. This concludes the formal portion. Keo will be available for more interviews. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.